Sandie J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome back to VO Buzz Weekly, and we are all about part 2 with the totally awesome Chris Fries. Come with us.
Chris, let's talk about your studio, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you have a really super cool studio at home, but it didn't just appear.
No,
Somebody didn't just give it to you. You had to, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about how you got that thing built and maybe some of the stuff that you use.
Okay. Originally I was using originally I was using my walk-in closet as my studio, which actually worked really well.
Yeah.
Nice sound deadening, and it was totally functional.
And you can get dressed while you're
I could
right,
do
because
that.
the clothes
yes.
are already there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cool.
So I spent a lot of time in the closet. Then I came out of the closet.
He's out.
So, but I got a vocal booth sound room then, and as soon as I was able to upgrade equipment, I did it. I probably went a little further and faster than I needed to, but I wanted to have I wanted to play with the big boys, and I felt if you play with the big boys, you got to use the big boy toys. So I really mirrored Scott Rummell's studio. He has a Sennheiser 416. I got a Sennheiser 416. He had an Avalon 737. I got an Avalon 737. These things are not cheap.
No, they're not.
I could have gone a lot cheaper, and
Yeah.
I tell you, I mean, you don't have to get those super expensive things, but this was my philosophy, and it was all about the go big or go home kind of thing. So I got those things, and then I got the vocal booth sound room, which worked out fine, and things were going great. And I got the ISDN exactly the same. I got an ISDN before I was even booking ISDN jobs.
Because you wanted to be
Yeah.
ready, you want to
You
be
were
prepared.
manifesting.
My thought was, and a lot of people will say don't buy them until you need them, but my thought was, well, wait, what if I could use that as a marketing tool and say, hey, I have ISDN, I can work right now.
You don't have to have a studio. I can have it, yeah.
Oh yeah, so I was ready to go, and
Cool.
and yeah, for about 6 to 9 months, I think I booked like 1 or 2 jobs, ISDN jobs on it, and I'm paying the monthly on it as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say that was dumb, but it allowed me to get,
Including you. I have a feeling. No.
but no, it opened up doors down the line. At first, it was that investment, but it started paying dividends by allowing me to work more with agents and producers and throughout the country and the world, for that matter. I think I booked a Sesame Street job where the director was in New York and the producer or the other studio was in Australia or something, and it was this mass connection. And because I had an ISDN, and I was able to book that. If otherwise I wouldn't have, and I'd have missed out on a lot of opportunities had I not had that. So I got the ISDN that he did, and everything's going fine. And then in about 2009, my wife says that she's pregnant. So we have a 3-bedroom, and one of those bedrooms is my studio. So,
Another crossroads,
yeah.
Chris.
Another crossroads, indeed. So we either move to a 4-bedroom, or we have to add on. And my wife wants to be buried in the house we're in right now, so we look to add on. So I contact another person I meet who I call a good friend of mine, George Whittam.
George Whittam.
Great
He's
guy.
the best.
He comes around and keeps my studio in top shape. And he was able to design this wonderful man cave that I call my home studio. And so it's got.
That's beautiful, man. And so you took a leap of faith there, because you built this gigantic studio saying, I know that the work's going to come. Right?
Yeah.
Or you were already doing good, but you're like, this can stop any day.
Oh yeah. That's the thing with voiceover is there's not a lot of job security.
Yeah.
You don't have vacation days, you don't have sick days, and you only get paid if you work. And and I was working, steadily, and it was steadily increasing. And I was thinking, hopefully this will keep going, and so let's go. Let's push those chips all in. And keep riding this wave, and it was doing great. I mean, and I use that as kind of part of the marketing too to different producers, and then I have my studio on my website and that, so that the people can see that it's a professional looking setup, and a lot of times some producers have gotten burned with doing sessions, ISDN sessions with actors when they don't have a proper setup.
Sure.
So they'll want to do test sessions and stuff, and it's like, no problem, bring it on. And it sounds great. And yeah, George, you did a great job, man. Thanks, buddy.
That's fantastic,
George,
man.
we love
That's
George.
so cool.
So you had told us about an experience you had with your first agent, that you were dropped.
Yeah, that was probably.
And there's a lot of people watching that they sort of think, oh my gosh, that's it, that's the end. What was that experience like for you? And what was kind of your takeaway from that? I mean, clearly you got back up.
Yes, I did.
And
Another
but
crossroads.
that can be a really devastating thing.
Oh, it scared the hell out of me. I get the agency I was with, the agent, the main agent there had moved on, and the ownership had cleaned house of like 80% of the roster. Basically, anybody that wasn't booking was gone, and I hadn't booked a thing through. But I was there only about 6 months, but I still wish I would have started kind of getting some momentum going. But it's tough to kind of get that
6
momentum.
months is like a minute.
Yeah, and I wasn't doing it, so I was out. And I get this letter in the mail, and boy, yeah, my heart sank. I just didn't know. It was hard enough to get an LA agent, and now to lose that representation and be kind of out in the cold. I didn't know what to do or where to go, but my networking and the marketing eventually paid off, and I was able to get referrals, and that was the thing too. It's so hard to get an agent just by you sending an email or a phone call. They'll probably curse you out if you call them on the phone.
Yeah.
And an email, it's a little less confrontational, but it's easily ignored too.
Right.
And it was actually funny. I had sent an email to Sandie Schnarr of Sandie Schnarr Talent at the time, now ABO, and about 2 weeks prior to, and I didn't get any response. And then 2 weeks later, I get a referral to meet with Sandie, an introduction, and I was able to meet with her, and she signed me because of the referral. The email did nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
The
referral was the clincher.
Yeah, and so that's again, it's who you know, and I was able to get that meeting set up, and and that's where I got a lot of my big first breaks was through Sandie. So
That's
a big thank you to
Yeah.
Sandie.
I love
Absolutely.
Sandie. I'm
She's
with
a- she's
Sandie.
Yeah,
lovely.
that's
fantastic.
right.
Yeah.
What do you think continues to motivate you to just, work hard and strive, and you're still chasing that cheese, if you will?
I think it's because I love what I do, and it doesn't seem like work when you love it. And it's the success. Obviously, it's a big motivator to see that, hey, this can actually work, and I really loved kind of trying a little bit of everything. One of my great a business plan, I think, is my diversification. When I first started, even right out of the gate, when I made that demo too soon, I diversified. I made an animation demo and I made a commercial demo, kind of covering the gamuts there and going in directions. And from there, I was able to kind of learn and get introduced to narration and imaging and video games and
Promos.
and I've done a trailer and so when you ADR even looping and things, and so I study these areas, and I when you get these opportunities, then things start to kind of happen, and my diversification philosophy was 3 reasons: to see what I was good at, and what was the 3? Let me see, 3 reasons: what I'm good at, what I liked,
What you like,
and to make money,
right?
Because this is a business. And so I got to try to find a way to make money here. And so I'm spreading myself across to see what I could do and what I was good at. And now it's kind of settled in on narration, promo, and commercial, and then still some video game and some other things. But the diversification was, it's just exciting because there's something new every day.
Absolutely, man.
And that kind of rush of getting that call from your agent that, you got this or something.
Yeah,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, obviously your diversification is great, but one thing I really respect about you is your tenacity. So much so that, true or false, you changed your name to be more in alignment with your branding?
I did. Chris Fries is how I'm known in the voiceover world,
Yes.
but it's actually not pronounced Fries. It is pronounced Fries. It's
Right.
a Luxembourg name, Northern European, and I was tormented as a
I was
child.
gonna say, didn't everyone say fries anyway?
Yeah, I was teased about French fries, and and then even when they would pronounce it right, it would be like, freeze, don't move, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yes.
and so the jokes were just, are you kidding
Yeah.
me? In the early stages, I still went by Chris Freeze when I first was in voiceover. As a matter of fact, some of the branding that I did, I tried to work off of the ice, cool as ice, or something like that.
Yeah.
I came up with a brand of Mr. Freeze, the Batman villain.
Yeah.
Right.
And it actually kind of worked pretty cool, but it really kind of pigeonholed me as just being an animation video guy. And some of the work I do now is I'll do work for banks and insurance companies, and conservative, warm, trusting. And Mr. Freeze villain it
Yeah.
doesn't really
Match the image. Yeah.
match that. So that wasn't really working. So I'm still trying to figure it out. It was a work in progress. And I'm in a session, and a director is telling me, oh, I've wanted to ask you this ever since we booked you for this job. And I'm like, oh, yeah, what's that? You want fries with that? Ha, 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 ha. And I'm like, he's hired me. He's paying the bills.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's very funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
Never heard it.
So funny.
Yeah.
But then it was like a little bit of a light bulb went off here. I'm like, you want fries with that? That'd be a kind of a cool slogan for a voiceover thing. Who, fries are warm and delicious, and who doesn't love fries,
Yeah.
So I think that day I said, I'm changing my pronunciation to Chris Fries, and my slogan is, you want fries with that. I told my agents.
Wow.
I
They were
love
like,
it.
they were like, fine.
Yeah.
Even on my website,
Yeah.
it's
Golden delicious voiceover.
yeah, and I
love it.
So I mean, it totally, and it actually, from a communication standpoint, where say I'm in a session and they're saying, "Oh, we just got another script. We got to email it to you. What's your email address?" I won't send it to your agent. It'll just be faster. And I'd say, "Oh, it's Chris at chrisfreezevoices.com." Freeze, is that Freeze? No, it's Fries. Freis? No, IE. And I'm like, this is killing me,
Yeah.
So just to give simple instructions.
Yeah.
So it was like, now it's like, oh, Chris at chrisfriesvoices.com. Great.
Yeah.
Oh, the website, chrisfriesvoices.com.
Yeah.
No problem. Hey, oh, great. Okay, we'll send it right over. So
Yeah.
from just
Making
simple,
it easy.
Yeah, simple communication, easy to remember, and
That's very cool, man.
Your slogan should be Chris Fries, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it, though.
a good one too. Maybe that could be
Because-
your next one.
No, I mean
Yeah.
because you're like this, you just say yes, and and I just think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic, and it's very inspiring.
Yeah, I'm inspired.
Yeah.
good.
I am. Can you explain your mantra?
Yeah.
And you say it. What's your
Okay.
mantra?
God bless the lazy.
God bless the lazy.
Yes.
Please explain.
I will. Well, going back to Scott's advice to me and me doing everything that he told me to do, I did it, and success started happening. It was like a snowball, small but built over time.
Yeah.
And as I was getting success, other people are contacting me and asking me about getting into voiceover, and I would tell them. And one of the things that Scott had said is, make sure that when you're doing this, maybe you turn around, you help out somebody too. And I'm like, absolutely. He goes, and don't be surprised if you run into people that just don't really do the things you tell them to do. And he told me after, he's like, I am so proud of you, Chris. I tell you, I talk about you to other people and how you did all the things that I told you to. And I'm like, why wouldn't I, Scott? I mean,
Yeah.
And he's like, you'll be surprised. So people don't want to do all the work it
No.
takes.
Yeah.
So people come to me and they'll ask me, and I'll tell them the same thing Scott told me. And sometimes through follow-up, I'll find out that they're not doing the things that they're supposed to, or they're taking shortcuts, or they think there's an easier way or a different way. They're thinking there's a short from A to B without any turns to get that cheese, right?
Right.
But no, there's lots of turns and lots of dead ends, and I guess I've developed my skill and I have a certain amount of talent, I guess, but there are so many more talented people than me out there that don't have agents, that you know, haven't booked anything, but they're super talented.
Oh, I was going to say, and are they lazy?
That's what I found, and I, you know, voiceover is very competitive. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, if you have a little bit of talent and you have some determination, it's not as competitive as you might think because of that. Because there are so many more people out there.
That pool is much smaller.
Yes.
That's what I found. And those super talented people that would talk to me, and I'm like, man, your voice is amazing, I would tell them. And okay, well, you do this, and this, and they wouldn't. I'd find out that they weren't doing that, and so I found there's a lot of lazy people out there, very talented but very lazy, and fortunately I'm benefiting from that because it's competitive for me as it is.
Yeah.
It would be a heck of a lot more competitive if those really talented people decided to get off their butts and do some work.
Yeah.
And then it would be a lot harder for me. So, I mean,
would you say that you're fearless?
No, I'll still take that leap and be afraid, but I'm still going to take that leap.
But you take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But he's afraid.
But
Are
I'm
you afraid
afraid
right now?
A little bit.
I always say leap and the net will appear.
Yeah,
You know,
and it really
it
has worked out. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen?
exactly.
Is kind of what I've felt there too. But yeah, so here's to all those lazy people out there.
Here's to the lazy people out there.
God bless you.
That because of you, Chris has a lot more work today.
Yeah.
Well,
but I'll tell you
maybe
though,
you'll inspire them to
and that's
amp it
the
up a
thing.
notch.
You can be lazy, or you can decide to do something about it, and that's entirely up to you. And that's that's another crossroads too. It's like,
Absolutely.
You could say, I don't feel like going to that workout group or that seminar, or
I don't feel like driving to LA.
Yeah.
or you can just get off your butt and do it.
Yeah.
And
love
and that's the cool thing, man, is I've seen so many people put in the work, you know, because this is not a get rich quick scheme, right?
No,
we
it's
know
not.
that.
Yeah.
You're gonna get rich quick. This is not the business. But it almost is. There is a certain amount of predictability about it, and that's it. That's this. If you're really good at what you do, so that when people that are in a position to hire you hear you and go like, oh wow. And you can really impress some people,
ready.
and you network, you get out there and, like you said, let people hear you,
Yeah.
right? Let people know how good you are.
Yeah.
And you take those leaps, you know, build a nice studio. Say to yourself, I don't want to let something go out with my voice on it that doesn't sound good, because then you're going to sound bad.
Yeah.
And all those things are things that you've done, maybe not in that particular order, but those are the things, and they all require work.
Oh yeah.
You know?
And work to me never really stops. Like again, you don't have vacation time in that.
Yeah.
So when I go on vacation, I take my work with me because George helped set this up where I got a laptop and my backup mic, and when I go on vacation, I set up a little couch cushion fort and put my mic in there, and I'm doing commercials or promos or whatever right in the hotel room.
What do you use for your portable system?
I have an Apogee one that connects the mic.
Apogee one,
yeah, and,
that's what you have.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and the Sennheiser is
416.
and I have a backup everything too. I guess kind of goes.
That's
not
a
only-
personal problem.
Yeah.
That's a personal problem. It's a backup. And what software do you use?
I Pro Tools and Twisted Wave,
Okay.
but Twisted Wave is a lot easier.
Yeah,
and George kind of steered me over to that side. But yeah, and then like the Sennheiser and that. So I'm doing work there, and it works out really well. So,
Absolutely, man.
yeah. So I take a vacation, but I don't want to miss out on those opportunities or those jobs.
Yeah, and you can't. I mean, that's just the voice, the job of a voice actor. Is that when you go somewhere, you got to take your tools with you, because you never know.
Never know. So, Chris, you are one of the guys that are in a unique situation. You have agent representation and a wonderful manager.
Yeah.
So, what have you found have been the benefits of that, and what do you think has worked well for you, having both?
And again, it was in seeing Scott's career and what he,
Hey, Scott, do you have a manager? Yeah, okay, I'll get one of those.
yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
They're harder to come by than you
Yeah.
might think.
Another challenge with a potential crossroad. I think I will do
I
that.
think there's only 4 of them in the world.
There's
very few good ones.
There's
yeah.
a few really. Well, there's tons of managers, but there's probably only 3 or 4 that are.
There's
really
that elite
strong.
level.
Yeah. And so I had my eye on the elite level, and it was kind of funny because I was wanting a manager way before I was ready to have a manager. But I mean, like everything else in my career, I got it before I was ready for the equipment, the studio, and all that. It was just yet another thing that I was biting off more than I can chew. But I was still going to take a bite out of that and see if I can.
Well, something in your instinct told you that that you were going to get it ready at some point. I mean, I think you were, don't you think?
I mean, well, the nice thing was I had sent some correspondences to the big managers, and but I mean, this was shortly after I booked like maybe the Minute Maid job, so I was way before I could even get to the point of needing a manager.
Yeah.
But I sent some of my work, and I got a response from only one manager, and about 2009, 2010, it was Debbie Cope, had replied to my email, and she's like, love your sound, keep in touch, as soon as you book a promo or a trailer, you give me a call. And I was thinking to myself, well, it's kind of a catch-22 sometimes.
But I need your help.
Most of the, a lot of the jobs.
I thought you'd help me get one of those.
A lot of the jobs kind of go through, the promo and trailer jobs go through the managers. And, but I understood, and of course at the time I'm anxious and eager, and y'all want it all right now and stuff, but there's a process. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint.
Right.
So I bide my time, and I keep her updated. Like I would send you, Chuck, some of my latest stuff. I would also keep her updated, because now it was important. Now it's like, okay, I got her attention. Now I need her to still remember me, because if it takes 3-4 years for me to book a promo, and I contact her 3 or 4 years later, she's like, who?
Chris,
are you?
who?
Right.
Yeah. So freeze or fries? But anyway, so every 4 months, 5 months, enough to remind her, but not too often that I become a pest.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'd send her some updates, and she'd say, great job, thanks for keeping me posted. And for about 4 years, I did this, and then I finally booked ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week promo. I did it for the whole season or whatever, and you could bet, what was my first call after?
I know what it was. Yeah.
Debbie.
Chris Fries for Debbie Pope.
Yeah. So I told her about the ESPN thing. She's like, let's talk management. So
So she stayed true to her word.
She did.
Nice,
4
man.
years though.
Yeah.
That's the key. I mean, 4 years. You did not.
And the first audition she got me, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Wow.
Right on.
So
there you go. So just so that you guys know,
That's cool.
okay, it took Chris 4 years to get Debbie Cope management to manage him, but he stayed on it. Getting a manager in voiceover, first of all, not everybody has one. In fact, 99% of the people don't. It's really, really hard to get one. Because they don't work with just anybody. So congratulations to you, man, for staying on top of that and just seeing it through.
Thanks.
He does have tenacity.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Tenacity?
Tenacity.
Tenacity.
with an accent.
Tenacity. Yeah. Tomatoes. So cool, buddy.
Yeah.
So cool.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think, obviously, what do you think have been the keys to your success?
Yeah, I think you said it, the tenacity and just and trying to keep as many irons in the fire as possible, like with the manager and stuff. I want to have as many good people working with me and representing me as possible, because it's just a matter of time. If I have a certain amount of skill in that, if I get the volume of opportunities, stuff starts to stick. So I'm not going to book everything, and it's not a matter about being the best. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be competitive. You just have to be in the ballpark. If you're in the ballpark, then you get enough opportunities, you're going to start to book stuff. It's just a matter of time. It's just so if you're not competitive, then no, you could keep throwing that at the wall, and that's never going to stick. But if you're good, if you work at your skill, and you're competitive, whatever I happen to book, it's not because I was the best. I was just picked that time, and I was in the ballpark.
Right.
So having a great manager and a great agency and good people working with, and then great people helping me stay sharp, like Joyce and others, so to train and to stay on top of the game, because there's an evolution in voiceover that's going on all the time. Every day it's changing.
Yeah.
What's hot right now is not going to be hot, a year from now or less.
Yep.
So I'm staying on top of those trends so that I can keep working
That's key.
and stay competitive, so that when that volume of work, those opportunities keep coming, I'm going to get at least consideration.
Yeah. That's cool. And when you get in, say, an audition for something that's big, okay, and
I get excited.
you get, I know, you get excited, but do you just look at it, read the specs, audition, do it, boom, boom, and send it out, or do you ever contemplate the idea of, maybe I should consult somebody to maybe guide me through this read, or even direct me through this read? Do you ever do that?
Beautiful segue, Chuck. I have done that, where there was a big audition I just had last week, and these things are important to me, so I call up Joyce Castellanos, and I make sure that I want to give the most competitive read possible. And so I've done that several times.
Cool.
I'd actually like to do that more. But sometimes our schedules don't coordinate.
Sure.
But for sure, I will always want to try to put my best foot forward. And sometimes when I have to self-direct too, depending on I try to treat every job as a big job. It's the most important thing to that client, and so it's important to me. At times, I won't even look at the specs because sometimes, if one of two things could happen, it'll be everybody's going to do it that way, or maybe they want to try something different anyway, and I'll just try to interpret the copy on my own, and then give them something different. And then maybe I'll go back and read the specs, and if it's different from what I gave them, then I'll give that as an alt as well.
I see.
Options are so important too. When you give them choices, it's like you can go with that friendly read, or you can go with that casual read. What do they like better? Sometimes they think they want friendly, but man, so many times, I can't tell you how many times I'll do an audition for something, and it might be like friendly and bright in the specs, but then when it goes to air, it's totally casual and low key, and I'm like, well, that wasn't on the specs.
Or the opposite, right? Casual, laid back, soft spoken. Then you hear the spot, and it's like, it's a hard sell.
So it's like, that's why it's important to give those options.
Absolutely.
And stuff.
And it shows you have that range and directability.
And I love that. I love that you treat your business with the utmost importance, and you treat it like a business and not a hobby.
Really,
And gosh, man, so cool. So proud of you, man.
Thanks.
So Chris, you've been, through all these different jobs, the Parks and Recreation job, it was supposed to be a part-time thing, ended for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And then you went to jail, or
He's a jailer.
got a jailer job, and started doing that. And so what does your wife say about all of that? The fact that you were doing that and where you are today doing what you love, what does she say about that?
You're a good team.
Yeah, for sure. She is kind of, I don't want to say shocked in like she wasn't surprised that it would happen, but I think it's just this, I think she didn't realize how big this industry can be, and I didn't even realize how big this industry could be, but it was, and it still is a wonderful journey, and it was just, for her to stand by me and keep me focused and motivated, and that's so important too, to have a support system at home.
Absolutely.
Because I could not have done it without you, honey. Thank you, I love you.
Sweet.
But I just she kept me focused, and she knew I wasn't happy doing the Parks and Rec job, and And even the jailer job, it was kind of starting to change me a little bit. It's another world.
I just can't even imagine you doing that. I mean, I really can't, because you're the nicest guy in the world. You know, and you got to put on such a completely different hat.
You really do.
Yeah, but you know what, man?
armor.
God bless you for just taking those chances and saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this thing happen. If the hours work for me to do this, and that's why you did it. It was a sacrifice. But then it helped you with video games.
Right?
It did.
So who's to say what really happened there?
It was all part of Scott Rummell's plan.
Exactly. Scott, it's all your fault. Why don't we give Chris a little if question?
Yes. Okay, Chris.
Put him on the hot seat there and see.
Give me a number between 5 and 127.
10.
10. Okay. All right. If you were to spend the rest of your life in the company of a single type of animal, which would you choose?
Boy. I think a cheetah, because as a kid, I always thought those were the coolest animals, and it was everything that I wasn't as a kid and athlete, like really fast and
Can
agile.
you imagine running that fast?
I was not a very fast child, so I thought that would be super cool.
Nice.
I think, and that's kind of the neat thing with voiceover is to imagine being someone or something that you're not. And the video games is a perfect example when you're a villain or a monster or something like that, and where you can just take a few moments and just be something that you're not and play.
Yeah, and play. Yeah.
So,
Very cool, man.
Love it.
Well, I just
You're
got to tell
awesome,
you, buddy,
Chris.
I'm so glad that you came out here, man, and shared with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we love you and we're proud of you. And I know that there's a bunch of people out there right now that are inspired by your tenacity. You know what I mean? And the fact that, when you work hard enough and you just plow through, if you want it bad enough, you can do it.
Yes.
That's it. So thank you, okay?
You're
My
always
pleasure.
welcome.
Get down.
Continue to abundance.
Absolutely.
To you and your family, your amazing family.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
We will see you guys next time.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Fries, and I just got buzzed with Chuck and Stacey. And now that I'm done, I think I'd like some fries with that. How about you?
Well, that concludes our two-part episode with Chris Fries. What an awesome dude.
Totally great.
Unbelievable.
He has a great story, great heart.
Absolutely. You know what the coolest thing about this whole thing here, man? Us bringing you the show, you guys out there, having somebody like Chris come on the show. The coolest thing is knowing that if he can do it, so
You
can
can
you.
do it, yes.
And we're proud of you guys for being out there and kicking some VO butt. And we're going to be back next week with another show for you, so watch it.
I know, right?
Yep.
Hey, in the meantime, keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.